Co-op campaign! Zombies ate my freaking neighbors! There isn't really much I can say about this fucking game. I poured a ton of time into it. Never got any further than freaking level 35 or whatever, but that didn't change the fact that I loved the shit out of this game. But enough about my ass, let's get into the game! I'm probably really too excited about this, so I apologize. Whew, calming down. Alright, so we just finished, and by finished I mean we, again, didn't make it even halfway through the game. Of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, a game that I, from my childhood, accidentally played because my friend's neighbor had it. And I was like, what the heck's this game? LucasArts? LucasArts? It's Star Wars! This game's gotta be great! Pop it in. This isn't Star Wars, but it's great! I played it a lot. So, what about you? Did you play this game a lot when you were a kid?
I actually played it during, like, I think I was from like 10 to like 13 I played it, which is, you know, a little bit after it came out. Not a little bit, actually, a lot of it. But, you know, I was still a kid, and I still enjoyed it early. And I still cheated on it a lot because it was a million levels.
A million levels.
So the most levels in every game, any game ever.
What, you Game Genied that shit?
Well, it was Sega, so it wasn't Game Genie.
Oh, you played it on the Sega Genesis?
Yeah. I can't remember what I cheated with. I know I cheated with. Oh, don't they have actual passwords? Don't they?
Yes, they have passwords.
I might have cheated with that.
You got, like,
either way, I cheated a lot.
That's really how you get into the game, because they know you're not gonna be able to play all the levels in one sitting, so they throw the passwords at you, and they're like, "Here you go, you stupid lazy pieces of shit."
The fact that I had passwords is good.
Yeah, and they're four-letter passwords. No, not even numbers.
Yeah, very, 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 very simple password system, which is excellent. Should always be like that.
Yes, we'll save our reminiscing now for the final thoughts, but let's just get into the fucking... Let's do it! Let's go! Let's do it! How are the controls? Easy to use, quick to remember? I'll let you go first and I'll chime in after.
Controls were a little more complicated than, I'd say, Golden Axe or Streets of Rage or anything like that. Took me a minute to remember. I think I actually had to ask you a couple times, like, what the heck am I doing? But, I mean, as soon as I got used to it, it's very, very easy, you know, to use. It's an 8-way control system, top-down shooter. Change your weapon is one button, change your item is another button, shoot, use your item, 2 different buttons. 4 different buttons, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and then radar is one of the either bumper, whichever one you want to use, left or right bumper. Or they're called triggers. No, what were they called back then?
I want to say they were...
Shoulder buttons, probably.
Shoulder buttons, yeah. They weren't exactly bumpers or triggers.
It's true.
I guess you could have called them bumpers. Nobody did back then.
Yeah, I didn't start calling them bumpers until Xbox, because then they called RB and LB, which stood for right bumper and left bumper.
Yeah, exactly.
The controls were very much more complicated than the last 2 games I've played, which would have been Golden Axe and Streets of Rage. But once you did learn them, they were fairly easy to remember. You got, I believe, B button, I think, is the bottom button. So it'd be, yeah, let me look. Yeah, B. It's B. B, which is
B, guys.
Normal. B, guys!
B.
It's B!
B, guys.
Don't worry, I got this! I'm a professional!
Hunter takes later.
It's the B button, and that just did your normal attack. A button used your special item, and Y and X button changed your normal weapon and your special weapon. And then the L and R button opened up the radar. And once you ran out of an item, it automatically switched to the other item. It didn't just say 0 and you stopped firing. It switched. That was annoying a little bit. Like, I'd be using my squirt gun and it would run out, and then I'd be shooting my fucking missiles. I don't want to shoot fucking missiles.
Would you rather it, you know, not shoot anything, or would
you
rather
I would, because I would like a notification. Like, then I'm like, shit, I'm not shooting anything.
Maybe a notification would be good, like low ammo warning or something. But I think the fact that it actually keeps you shooting in the game is okay.
Yeah, but when you have items that are necessary, like very important items that you need to like blow open walls or doors, you can't be wasting that shit.
That's true. And also another thing I didn't like is that it only had like say you're cycling through your weapons, it only had one direction for that. And like say you got like 15 different weapons, it takes you a while to cycle.
I saw you cycling through them.
That was half the game for me. I was cycling through my weapons.
It's just like I look up and you're like, I just see you going through it the entire time. I was like, what the hell's he doing?
I had so many weapons, dude. I didn't know what to use, and I didn't. It was so many. God, I forgot how many weapons were in that game.
There are a lot, and that's the beauty about it.
That really was
just
part of the fun.
It's just there's so much stuff. You can throw popsicles.
You could throw forks.
You can throw footballs.
That's true. And tomatoes.
Oh, the
Not
worst
forgetting
weapon
about
ever.
I don't know what was worse, the
They didn't
tomatoes or the soda.
Fucking, at least the sodas were kind of had an area effect.
I think sodas actually had a purpose for one of the enemies that was super like effective with.
I don't remember who. I know that the cross killed shit like crazy, like the ants.
Oh,
I don't know
cross
why a
was pretty
cross
good.
killed the ants so quickly, but
I feel like the cross wasn't a projectile, so they're like, oh hey, we have to buff up the cross, so it's really good.
yeah. Do you think you would have played this game by yourself all the way to the end?
No, I do not. It was like we didn't even get past 20, did we? Together?
No,
I don't
we didn't.
think.
And we
No.
were cruising through there, and we lost most of our people.
But saying that and knowing what I did in my childhood, I actually I wouldn't beat the whole game, but I would go back and use passwords to get past where I couldn't get past, and I still had fun playing it. It didn't matter where I started. It was still fun no matter what.
Yeah, the game's length, we'll cover that later, but it definitely, I played it a lot by myself, but it was always more fun with the second person for me.
That's
But again,
the way it's meant to be played.
that's another question for another time. Friendly fire. Was there any to make the game any less enjoyable? There was no friendly fire.
Which was good in that game, actually.
Yeah, we would have died so many times.
So many more times, I should say.
Oh my
It was
God.
ridiculous. It was hard enough without friendly fire. If they had friendly
Oh
fire,
my
then
God.
it wouldn't have been fun.
But in all honesty, half the weapons wouldn't have affected us, because we're human. Like the cross wouldn't have affected us.
You would
Squirt guns
think.
would just be water.
But programmers are probably like, oh, we'll just make everything affect the other guy. It
Man,
doesn't even
water filled with nails!
matter. This is a soda pop. It obviously kills your
It has
teammates.
acid in it!
Hello? Duh. A tomato? Yep, they hate vegetables.
Yeah, they hate it. Who likes tomato? Who here likes tomatoes? No one. So, dead.
Exactly. So, no friendly fire, but overall, that's good.
Oh yeah, that game I don't think would have been very enjoyable with friendly fire. We would have been standing on just the way the screen. We'll cover that at the end.
Like-
hmm?
Yeah,
Go
I was gonna say, if we go back to the length, it's as long as it is, and if it had friendly fire, it just wouldn't work out at all.
No. And that's the
It's
next
too
question.
hard.
Do you think the game should have been longer, shorter, or was it just the right length before it started to get tedious?
Let's go back to Golden Axe and say it's the exact opposite of Golden Axe in that it wouldn't take you 20 minutes, it would take you 20 hours to beat.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was probably too long, I know, but it was still good.
I would say with the password system, a game can never be too long.
Actually, yeah, I actually agree with that. It's long, but there's so many variation in the levels that even though it feels long, it's still fun throughout the whole game.
I don't even think complete opposite of Golden Axe and Streets of Rage. I don't think they recycled any enemies.
No, the enemies they used, sure they used the same enemies on multiple levels, but it wasn't a recycled enemy, it was the same enemy.
No,
And
it
they
wasn't
knew
like
that.
it's a zombie that's a little bit stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
The
It was
only
definitely...
thing that would contradict that would be the giant baby. There's a
That's
baby,
true.
but it was. Well, I guess it wasn't an enemy beforehand.
It wasn't an enemy, but there was the model in the game.
But I
They
don't
used
think
that
it was
for
like
an
an
enemy.
attackable model. They actually had to program
It was-
to do different things.
It was one of the civilian models that you had to save, the baby.
Yeah, the baby. And I think even up to the last level that we got to, they were still introducing new enemies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, because we had those worms, and those were brand new enemies we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, they were based on what? They're like tremors.
Yeah.
Tremor thing.
And you know, the thing about it, all the enemies act unique. They were all programmed for me to act unique.
Yeah, the zombie football players. If you had the football weapon, if you threw it, they would turn around and go after the football.
I think that's part of the beauty of that game. It's just so, it was so, advanced for its time, to be honest.
Oh, I hope they release an HD remix of it or something. There was a sequel, but it never got the attention The
Yeah,
first one did.
I feel like that's why they haven't actually released like it was a true sequel, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure.
I think it was the Police Squad or something along those lines. I forget exactly what it was called.
Was it? It was the same type of game, though, wasn't it?
I don't know. I wish
don't
I
remember.
wish I did. I should have done a little research, I guess.
I did know about the sequel, and I knew it didn't get nearly as much like hype or whatever behind it. But I honestly think if they made an HD remake of this game, it would sell a lot. A lot of people have good memories of this game.
I played this with our friend Joe, and I don't think he'd ever played it before. And he played it and was like, "This is freaking great," because it really is. It's a callback to the old cheesy horror movie monsters. There was werewolves, tremors, Chucky dolls.
It was so good for so many reasons, really.
Giant ants.
So many people love that type of thing.
Those damn ants always stealing our freaking ammo.
The ants would steal items. Let me just go on a little rant about the ants, alright? They would steal your items that you needed. Fuck the ants!
Hey, look! There's missiles! Hey, you need these?
And then when it would burrow down into the hole, and you couldn't kill the ant to get your item back.
Yeah, those pieces of shit.
That was the biggest slap in the face in that whole game.
The developers know what they were doing. They're just like, ha ha!
But that's another thing about what I was saying, is that all the enemies act unique. They all do their own type of thing, which is really cool.
Oh, that I can't even. There were just, we didn't even get to half the enemies. There were still the Frankenstein monster. We didn't get to. We didn't get to
There was
Dracula.
So many different enemies, and they were all unique. And you can't put a price on good quality gaming like that.
No, it was really fun, and there was a lot of differences when you're playing the game. And almost every level looked. They recycled some areas, but like. They did something different with it. Like, you had the outside area with the houses, but sometimes there would be plants growing that you had to weed whack through, and there's pods coming out. Or it's a hedge maze, and you're outside, and you have the chainsaw guys.
Another great thing about the game, actually, is that all the items that you got were like for a specific thing. They all like acted differently. That's another thing about that too.
Did you find that having a second person made the game more fun or more of a hindrance? Like, having me there, was there ever a point where you're like, ugh, fucking asshole, this would be so much easier if you weren't fucking here doing this?
Not like that, but it honestly was a competitive type game, to where like you competed for score. And I think sometimes like if it's like if you save the civilians, you get more points. And I think maybe in that aspect where it's like, I wish. It's not like where I wish you weren't there, but oh, I wish I had gotten that civilian and not you, damn it. It actually made the game good. I like that. So I think that you being there was actually made it more fun.
I would agree. Except when it came to the camera.
That's true. The camera was a hindrance on co-op because you couldn't move outside of the one screen. And if you were on opposite sides and you couldn't get to your partner, that was a pain in the butt.
But to the developers' credit, they always made it where you could fix that. There was a path where you could go to fix that problem.
That's true, you just had to figure it out.
Like, if you jumped on a trampoline and jumped over to a side of a wall and you jumped over a hedge, there was a way for us to maneuver ourselves where we could fix that.
Yeah, it took us a second to figure that out. We weren't even sure if we could do it, but now we know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the game was beta tested enough where people did that and they're just like, shit, we gotta fix that.
Yeah, well, I'd hope, yeah, definitely.
Do you think in the future, if you had someone to play with again, would you play Zombies Ate My Neighbors with them, and you think you would have just as much fun?
Always, 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 always. This game is a classic. You can't not play it with somebody that hasn't played it. Even if somebody has played it. They'll be like, yeah, let's play Zombies Ate My Neighbors because it's awesome.
It's like, I thought you didn't play this. We're like, I don't know, it just popped into my head.
And you know what's funny? You'll always find someone else that you don't know has played that, and then like you'll randomly mention it, and they'll be like, oh dude, I love that game. I used to play that game all the time.
Remember the ants that stole your shit?
Yeah, fuck those ants. But yeah, it's like that with that game. It was such a classic that so many people had played it, and like I still feel like people are discovering that game and discovering how much of a cult classic it is.
As it should be. And that game was really well made. It was one of the LucasArts classics that wasn't an adventure game back then. I think
That's
the only
true.
other, because they were known for adventure games in those days. That
Yep.
and like Super Star Wars. That's about. I just remember people were always telling me about the adventure games. I never played any of them. they're adventure games. So
I never
don't know.
played adventure games period. But...
I played one called Legends of Kyrandia, but I never got very far in it.
Yeah,
Mainly
never
because
really
the main
got
character's name was Brandon.
I never really got into adventure games, but it was actually, it's kind of funny because that was really, adventure games were their bread and butter, and they totally went different with this and still made it amazing.
That's back when fucking the Lucas name carried something.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you recommend this game to someone just to have a new person to play with?
Yes, and 1,000 times yes.
Just like, hey, have you heard of Zombies Ate My Neighbors? Oh, no, never heard of that game. Well, let's go!
Always, man. I have a fucking party with this game. It really is that good.
To call back to what Para and I said, it's like you kick your door down, you see a guy across the street, and you're like, you! The man across the street! I'm playing Zombies Ate My Neighbors with me!
Yeah, I mean, really, it really is that good. It was so well made, and like, if I knew somebody that hadn't played that game before, and I had the game on hand, instantly, I would tell them, let's play that game.
Open up your backpack. Well, I just so happen to have the Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I would seriously do that because it really is that good.
What? Where'd this TV come from? I don't know. Let's do this.
It's like going back to like Final Fantasy games, like something that I'm so passionate about. Like, you have to play the game.
It's time to play a game.
I am the game. You don't want a zombie ate my neighbors.
That's getting cut.
Something or other.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Yeah, game amazing. What else can you say about it?
I think we pretty much covered everything.
I think we went through final thoughts like an hour ago.
Alright, well, thanks, Chris, for playing this game with me. It was fun to be able to play this game again.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to play an awesome game like this, by the way.
Gee, I know, you can't shut the hell up about it.
I can't. It's too good.
Alright, you can have Zombies Ate My Neighbors on the Wii Virtual Console, probably for $8 to $10, around there, I would assume. I think that's the running price nowadays for Super Nintendo games. Or you can just go get the actual cartridge for the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis. I didn't even know it was out on the Sega Genesis, to be honest with you. But you can grab it for those two. And if there are any games that you guys want to see me cover, send your suggestions to the email that's up here right now, and have the subject co-op. I'll see you guys on the next campaign. That's it. BasementKings.com